If you have not located your seats, you have just under 1 minute. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm advised there's a car registered plate 1633 WW that is blocking the food store next door. We're asking you to remove same. may be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, this ceremony is now officially called to order. The Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister, Honorable Dr. Horace Chang, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of National Security and Member of Parliament of Northwest St. James, Senator Janice Allen, representing the Leader of the Opposition, the Honorable Desmond Mackenzie, Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Honorable Marlene Malou Forbes, Minister of Legal Affairs, Legal and Constitutional Affairs, and Member of Parliament for St. James West Central, Honorable Omar Davis, Minister of State, Office of the Prime Minister and also MP, Dr. Derek McCoy, Attorney General, Mr. Eli Clark, Member of Parliament, Central St. James, Senator Charles Sinclair, His Worship the Mayor, Councillor Leroy Williams, and Chairman of the St. James Municipal Corporation, Bishop the Honorable Conrad Pitkin, Custos Rotalorum for the Parish of St. James, Dr. Wayne Henry, Board Chairman JSIP, Mr. Omar Sweeney, Managing Director, Jamaica Social Investment Fund, members of the JSIP Board and senior management team and other staff members, Dr. Keith Amiel, Deputy Chairman of the JFB's Board, and Mr. Stuart Beckford, Commissioner of the Jamaica Fire Brigade and firefighters, members of the Jamaica Fire Brigade across the various parishes, members of the St. James Municipal Corporation, and members of the Montego Bay business community, representatives from the consulting and contracting firms, representatives from the various media houses, including the JIS team, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and our regular community members out there in Montego Bay this morning. A very pleasant good morning to you today. It is indeed my pleasure and a privilege to be chairing this very prestigious, well-anticipated moment. The official handing over ceremony of the Jamaica Fire Brigade Area 4 Headquarters, Montego Bay. This milestone is worthy of us all being here this morning. And to celebrate this moment and to acknowledge what God has done for us, let us stand for the playing of the national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing as we invite Bishop, the Honorable Conrad Pitkin, Custos Rotalorum, to open in prayer for us.
Good morning, everyone. May we bow heads in prayer. This is indeed a glorious morning to offer our praise and our thanksgiving to God for his bountiful goodness. No wonder the psalmist David declared, I will bless the Lord at all times. His praise shall continually be in my mouth. My soul shall make boast in the Lord. The humble shall hear thereof and be glad. O magnify the Lord with me, and let us exalt his name together. Almighty God, we come before you today to honor you as our Creator and our Provider. We offer our prayers for Andrew, our Prime Minister, for the members of his cabinet. We ask that you grant them wisdom and guidance as they pursue the business and affairs of our nation in this challenging time. For Desmond, the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, for the men and women of the Jamaica Fire Brigade, we are gathered today to thank you, Father, for this beautiful new fire station. We ask that you would put your hand of blessing upon this new building, and on all the equipment, on the commanding officer, and all the men and women who will be working here to give life-saving service and protection for the citizens of our parish. We especially ask that you would pour out your blessing on them as they seek to provide relief from suffering for those who need help. O Lord, we pray that this place would not only be a place of help, but also a place of kindness and compassion. May your heavenly peace be felt in this building each day as we offer dedication in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. We pray this in your holy name. Amen. Thank you. You may be seated.
Thank you very much, Bishop. Bless God. At this time, we all need to feel welcome in this beautiful city. And as such, I invite the Mayor, Councillor Leroy Williams, to offer his official welcome to the city of Montego Bay.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Marsha Henry, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Local Government. The Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister of Jamaica, the Honorable Desmond McKenzie, Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, the Honorable Dr. Horace Chang, Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of National Security, and MP for Northwest St. James, Honorable Homer Davis, Minister of State in the Office of the Prime Minister West, Honorable Marlene Malahou Fort, Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs and MP for West Central St. James, Honorable Edmund Bartlett, Minister of Tourism and MP for East Central St. James, Mr. Leroy Clark, MP for St. James Central, Senator Janice Allen, representing the Leader of Opposition, Bishop the Honorable Conrad Pitkin, Custos Rotolorum of St. James, Mr. Omar Sweeney, Managing Director, Jamaica Social Investment Fund, Deputy Mayor of Montego Bay, Councillor Richard Vernon, CEO Gerald Lee, other councillors and officers of the St. James Municipal Corporation, members of the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I can recall that in 2008, there was a groundbreaking ceremony for the Montego Bay Fire Station with the then Minister of State, Bobby Montague, who was the Minister of State in the office of the Prime Minister with responsibility for local government. Since then, that project was placed on the back burner. The year 2018 will forever be etched in the memory of citizens of Montego Bay, and more so in the memory of members of the Jamaica Fire Brigade, St. James Division. That was the year in which the dream of rebuilding the Montego Bay Fire Station finally came true, 13 years after the former structure was demolished. As you may recall, the original Fire Brigade building was 50 years old when it was closed and subsequently demolished in 2006 when it was deemed to be structurally unsound. I must express thanks to our hard-working Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, the Honorable Desmond Mackenzie, and Minister of State in the Office of the Prime Minister West, Honorable Homer Davis, who served as mayor in 2018 for their relentless efforts in the reconstruction of this edifice, which I am sure is a source of pride for the men and women of the fire department, as well as the general citizen in the parish and those who traverse our city. The Jamaica Social Investment Fund, JSIF, must be specially recognized for its astute management of this multi-million-dollar project. The building will provide accommodation for up to 140 firefighting personnel and is equipped with 5 engine bays, an emergency vehicle bay, dormitory, and kitchen facilities, and a conference center. It is envisioned that this newly constructed state-of-the-art fire station will improve the response time and the human and equipment capacity of the local fire department. Honorable Prime Minister, this is a great day for the city of Montego Bay. The opening of this wonderful edifice, which was constructed during the heights of COVID-19 pandemic and constructed without a hint of industrial disharmony, has given our hard-working firefighters a morale boost as they continue to save lives and protect properties. At this juncture, I must pause to pay tribute to recently retired Superintendent Mr. Dolphin Doman for his tireless efforts and years of dedicated service to the Jamaica Fire Brigade. Fast forward almost 4 years since the government broke ground in 2018 for the reconstruction of the Montego Bay Fire Station. Today, I can proudly say, mission accomplished, commitment made, commitment delivered. A city's environment is shaped not only by people who have an important influence, but is also shaped by everyone who lives and or works in that environment. And so, with great satisfaction, we all welcome the opening of this fire station, which will now become the epicenter of the Jamaica Fire Brigade activities in St. James. Ladies and gentlemen, This new facility will enhance capacity to save lives and property and is a key element of the government's and the St. James Municipal Corporation's quest to build modern and well-equipped fire stations in order to improve the response time for fire calls and other emergencies. This opening ceremony is a critical step in the process of protecting the assets and the lives of the people of the city of Montego Bay and the parish of St. James by extension. Having a facility such as this one is a necessary step in the community development process. As Mayor and Chairman of the St. James Municipal Corporation, I stand here proud that we have been able to move forward the process of rebuilding the fire station in Montego Bay. Ladies and gentlemen, our city, your city, Montego Bay, is on the rise again. COVID-19, crime and other challenges are hurdles which we have been navigating with some degree of success. I am very confident that as a people, we will continue to push forward, and soon, very soon, we will be able to fully bounce back from COVID-19, tame the crime monster, and build back stronger. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your patience, and may God bless you all.
We indeed feel welcome to be with you today, Mayor Williams. At this time, we are going to invite Dr. Wayne Henry, Chairman of the Jamaica Social Investment Fund, to offer opening remarks. After which, we'll have Mr. Omar Sweeney, who will offer the project overview without me having to come back to the microphone.
Mrs. Marsha Henry Martin, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development and Master of Ceremonies, today's event. The Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister of Jamaica. The Honorable Dr. Horace Chang, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of National Security and Member of Parliament for Northwest St. James. Senator Janice Allen, representing the Leader of the Opposition. Honorable Desmond McKenzie, Minister of Local Government and Rural Development. The Honorable Marlene Malaho Fort, Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs and Member of Parliament for St. James West Central. The Honorable Homer Davis, Minister of State in the Office of the Prime Minister. Mr. Heroy Clark, Member of Parliament for Central St. James. Senator Charles Sinclair, His Worship Councillor Leroy Williams, Mayor of Montego Bay. Bishop the Honorable Conrad Pitkin, Custos Rotolorum for the Parish of St. James. Mr. Omar Sweeney, Managing Director of the Jamaica Social Investment Fund, Dr. Keith Amiel, members of the JSIF Board and the Senior Management Team and staff members, Mr. Stuart Beckford, Commissioner of the Jamaica Fire Brigade and his team, members of the Jamaica Fire Brigade across the various parishes, members of the St. James Municipal Corporation, members of the Montego Bay business community, representatives from the consulting and contracting firms, and representatives of the various media houses, including the GIS team, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. And it's a great pleasure to bring remarks this morning. There's an elderly couple, of course, they were married for several years, no children, and in the old age, the wife decided to get a cat. And she was spending all the time with the cat, and the husband got jealous, and he decided, I have to get rid of the cat. He wasn't going to harm the cat, but just wanted to get the cat out. So without the wife knowing, he put the cat in the car and he drove a far distance and put out the cat. By the time he got home and locking up the house, in comes the cat. He put the cat back in the car and drive an even farther distance. And by the time he get back home and locking up the house, in comes the cat. And get frustrated and put the cat in the car and turn some corner and gone some long distance. And the wife is at home, she get a phone call, brrr, and it's the husband. He say, hello? She say, yes. He say, hello, honey. The cat is there? She say, yes, see the cat coming in here. I say, listen, put the puss on the phone, me lost. I need directions to get back home. Let me say it's my pleasure to bring greetings at the Jamaica Fire Brigade's Area 4 headquarters in Montego Bay in my capacity as chairman of the Jamaica Social Investment Fund, JSIF. The Disaster Vulnerability Reduction Project, DVRP, implemented by the JSIF with loan funding from the World Bank, is aimed at strengthening Jamaica's response to climate change through activities related to contingent emergency response, risk reduction, and climate change resilience. The Rural Agricultural Development Authority, RADA, reports that every year, many areas of Jamaica experience drought conditions. These sometimes last for long periods, causing large areas of vegetation to become very dry. In these conditions, vegetation will burn quickly, posing serious fire risks. Over the years, several brush fires have damaged crops, livestock, buildings, and general vegetation. This has caused millions of dollars worth of damage and farm losses. The Forestry Department recorded about 367 hectares of forest, that's some 960 acres, lost due to fires in 2015 alone. As part of the thrust to strengthen Jamaica's response to climate change, there is a need to also strengthen complementary mechanisms to improve Jamaica's stability and its ability to respond to disasters. This includes the rehabilitation, construction, and maintenance of critical national infrastructure, including fire stations. I recall speaking at the signing ceremony for the construction of the Yalas Fire Station and the handing over of water tender trucks to the Jamaica Fire Brigade in November 2019, at which the contract and commencement of works in relation to this fire station were referenced. Today the work is complete, and I'm pleased to be present for the official handing over of a newly constructed state-of-the-art fire station that will serve the people of Montego Bay and surrounding areas. The opening of the Montego Bay Fire Station indicates the continuous progress of the government's overall risk management efforts and strides towards sustainable development and commitment to this city's development. It is expected that this facility will significantly improve the fire brigade's responsiveness and effectiveness, as well as the human resource and equipment capacity of the fire department. The 4-story facility is now the most modern fire station in the region, featuring dormitories for firefighters, administrative offices, a gymnasium, and communal spaces. I wish to thank our partners, the World Bank, who in addition to their support of the DVRP, continue to do invaluable work in key areas of priority for the government of Jamaica. To the JSIF team, special commendations for ensuring that this flagship output under the DVRP project was not unduly delayed due to the COVID-19 pandemic, even in the face of construction delays. I also extend appreciation to the direct beneficiaries of this facility, the firefighters, and the entire Jamaica Fire Brigade for their invaluable contribution to nation building. I look forward to continued collaboration with our national and international partners as we continue our mission to improve the quality of life for all Jamaicans. We continue to do the work under the DVRP, and we'll see you at another opening very soon. Thank you and God bless.
I don't have any fancy jokes like Dr. Henry, but good morning. Mrs. Marsha Henry Martin, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister, Honorable Dr. Chang, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of National Security, to Honorable Marlene Malahoo Fort, Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs and Member of Parliament for St. James West Central, Honorable Homer Davis, Minister of State in the Office of the Prime Minister, to Honorable Heroi Clark, Member of Parliament, Honorable Senator Charles Sinclair, Honorable Senator Janice Allen, representing Leader of the Opposition, Bishop the Honorable Conrad Pitkin, Costas Rotolorum, Dr. Wayne Henry, Board Chairman of JSIF, and other board members present, to Mr. Stuart Beckford, Commissioner of the Jamaica Fire Brigade and his team, as well as all other members of the Fire Brigade present, members of the St. James Municipal Corporation, members of the Montego Bay community, representatives of the contracting and consulting firms, media houses, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning again. You know, previous to this event, many people were asking me if I was nervous, but I'm actually going to be happy in a few hours because I was nervous 2 or 3 years ago when we started this project. And certainly it has been a long journey, a strong journey with COVID. And I really want to first ask you to join me in clapping and congratulating the operational teams of the Fire Brigade, the JSIF, the contractor that has brought us here today. It really is with great pleasure that I'm here today because certainly the government of Jamaica has taken deliberate action to protect our investments and protect the country against natural disaster. It is known that Jamaica suffers from the triple threat: hurricanes, floods, and earthquakes, right? And we are one of the most vulnerable countries in the world. And so today, in line with our mandate of protecting the vulnerable and the poor in Jamaica, this intervention of building the capacity of the Jamaica Fire Brigade is designed to, additional to what Dr. Henry had said about fires caused by drought, it is also designed to ensure that the more than 200,000 residents, business owners, and others that are in the capture area of this fire station can be better protected by having the capacity right here on Barnett Street to respond to disasters of this kind. So, in this regard, the government partnered with the World Bank, and the resources have been defined under the project known as the Disaster Vulnerability Reduction Project. And this station, as was coined before, and we certainly think is state-of-the-art, we also think that it has to be one of the premier fire stations, if not in Jamaica, certainly the Caribbean. The project emphasizes the importance of partnership. And we partnered with the Jamaica Fire Brigade, of course, but the Ministry of Local Government was a significant partner in this project. And I want to take the opportunity to recognize Minister Desmond McKenzie for his steadfast resolve in ensuring that this project and the other fire stations being built in Yallas and Port Maria is going to be done to the highest standard possible. You yourself, Honorable Prime Minister, has toured the facility while the construction was going on and gave your support in ensuring that the project was completed on time, all things considered, and I thank you for your attention and your support in this regard as our portfolio minister. So today we're here, we will see the commencement and the operational activities of the fire brigade moving in this direction, and so I want to take the opportunity to just say thank you to the city of Montego Bay. As the mayor has said, we were able to complete this project without any sort of interference, and we were also able to receive all the facilities of the parish council, the state minister's office, anytime it was requested. So we thank you for the honor of being able to complete the project, and we just look forward to seeing it continue to be used in years to come.
Thank you very much for sanitizing. I do appreciate it. And to you, Dr. Henry and Mr. Sweeney, thank you. Prime Minister and ladies and gentlemen, it was a few weeks ago we also opened the Old Harbor Fire Station. And I recall the students who performed with Prime Minister said it was a big, bad fire station. And I remember Minister indicating that, and we have many more to open. I don't know what the JFB will say, but we are now going to invite the Commissioner of the Jamaica Fire Brigade, Mr. Stuart Beckford, to come. And as he comes, I want to also acknowledge the presence of Mrs. Helen Davis White, who has joined us, who is head of the Jamaica Confederation of Trade Unions. Come, Commissioner.
Mrs. Marsha Henry Martin, Permanent Secretary, the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister of Jamaica, the Honorable Dr. Horace Chang, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of National Security and Member of Parliament for North West St. James, Senator Janice Allen, representing the Leader of the Opposition, the Honorable Desmond Mackenzie, Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, the Honorable Marlene Malaou Fort, Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs and Member of Parliament for St. James West Central, the Honorable Omar Davis, Minister of State, Office of the Prime Minister, Dr. Derek McCoy, Attorney General, Mr. Eroy Clark, Member of Parliament, St. Charles, St. James, Senator Charles Sinclair, His Worship, Councillor Leroy Williams, Mayor of Montego Bay, Bishop, the Honorable Conrad Pitkin, Custos Rotolorium for the Parish of St. James, Dr. Wayne Henry, Chairman, Jamaica Social Investment Fund, Mr. Omar Sweeney, Managing Director, Social JSIF, Jamaica Social Investment Fund, members of the JSIF Board, Senior Management Team and other staff members, Dr. Keith Emil, Chairman, or Deputy Chairman, beg your pardon, of the Jamaica Fire Brigade Board, members of the Jamaica Fire Brigade, senior officers, rank and file. I would also like to acknowledge the presence of 3 former commissioners who are here with us this morning, Commissioners Spencer, Mowat, and of course, Frederick White, members of the St. James Municipal Corporation, members of the Montego Bay business community, representative from the consulting and contracting firms, representative of various media houses to include GIS team, Mrs. Helen Davis White, General Secretary of JALGO, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I am indeed pleased to be participating in this ceremony for the official opening of the new Montego Bay Fire Station. Today's proceedings brings to an end the long wait for a modern facility in Montego Bay and could not have come at a more opportune time, as this year we celebrate 80 years of formal firefighting service in the St. James Division. This is indeed a significant milestone. I would like to acknowledge the tremendous sacrifice made and commitment shown by the men and women of the St. James Division who were assigned to work in Montego Bay over the last 16 years in conditions that were less than ideal for emergency operation, and who, notwithstanding their working conditions, continued to provide professional service to the people of Montego Bay and visitors to our shores. Please give them a round of applause. The opening of this facility, ladies and gentlemen, will no doubt lift the morale of our firefighters, as they will be working in an environment that will facilitate improved service delivery to the people of Montego Bay. This facility is strategically located or situated, allowing for mutual aid support to adjoining divisions such as Westmoreland, Trelawney, Hanover, and St. Elizabeth. Ladies and gentlemen, in keeping with our vision, we will be offering additional added value services from this facility. These will include fire investigation, hazardous material responses, as well as emergency medical services. We'll also, no doubt, improve those services which we already provide to the public, especially those that deal with the built environment. Over the last 5 years, ladies and gentlemen, the St. James Division responded to a total of 6,917 emergency calls, to include 2,650 responses to medical emergency, and for this, they must be commended. From an operational perspective, we continue to see significant increases in the number of emergency calls for motor vehicle accidents in this division. Last year, we responded to 140 such incidents, up from the 50 we responded to the previous year. This represents a 180% increase over the previous year. This, ladies and gentlemen, is of concern to us. We are here this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, because of the work of many individuals who work tirelessly behind the scene to make this project a success. And here I would like to acknowledge Dr. Wayne Henry and the team from JSIF for the tremendous support they provided throughout the lifetime of this project. A grateful brigade salutes you. I would also like to thank the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, led by the Honorable Desmond Mackenzie, for the tremendous support provided during the construction phase of the project. To these individuals, we owe a debt of gratitude. We want to assure you that your efforts will not be in vain, as we will do everything within our powers to ensure that this facility is properly maintained. In closing, I would urge those who will be occupying the facility to ensure the proper use and maintenance of same, as we strive to fulfill our mandate of saving lives and protecting property. I thank you.
Thank you so much for that charge, Commissioner, being committed to saving lives and property. At this time, we are going to invite the Member of Parliament for St. James Central, Mr. Eroy Clark, to bring his remarks.
Mrs. Marsha Henry Martin, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development. The Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister. Honorable Dr. Horace Chang, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of National Security and Member of Parliament for North-West St. James. Senator Janice Allen, representing the Leader of the Opposition. Honorable Desmond Mackenzie, Minister of Local Government and Rural Development. Honorable Marlene Malahoo Fort, Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs and Member of Parliament for St. James West Central. Honorable Homer Davis, Minister of State in the Office of the Prime Minister. Dr. Derek McCoy, Attorney General and Attorney. Senator Charles Sinclair, His Worship Councillor Leroy Williams, Mayor of Montego Bay. Bishop, the Honorable Conrad Pitkin, Custos Rotororum for the parish of St. James. Other distinguished guests,
this morning is a happy morning for the resident of St. James. We have waited long. We have done many things that are necessary to be here. And today we stand tall. We celebrate with you, the fire service, the members of the fire brigade, and others, because we are getting what we truly deserve. I remember back in 2008, then Mayor of Montego Bay, Mayor Charles Sinclair, giving the order that we should destroy what was here as the fire station at the time, because it was beyond what was needed. And so the order was carried out. And we understand that over the years, the fire service has moved from one building to the next, not having a home. Today, we are proud that the men and women of the fire service has a home away from home. Whilst it is not just about fire, but it's all about rescue. Not so long ago, maybe 2 weeks to be exact, we had a tragic situation where the fire service was called into play. We lost lives in Montego Bay because of flooding. But as early as last night, as late as last night, the fire service was once again called upon to rescue some 7 members of the community of St. James. And so we ask ourselves the question, isn't this what is needed for Montego Bay? Yes, it is what is needed for Montego Bay. I say to the government of Jamaica and partner the World Bank that we, Lord, we give thanks. We say thank you for what you have done, Mr. Prime Minister. The operation man on the ground, the minister, you have been with us so often, and each time coming to Montego Bay, you have to pay a visit to what is happening at the fire station. And so I say thank you on behalf of the residents of Montego Bay. We cannot say to the firemen and women how pleasant it is to have you among us. Your job, your task take you across the waters in so often, on many occasions, but you have continued to do your work. Today we say to you, you have a home that you will be comfortable after going out to carry out your duties, that you can come back to and rest well, getting ready for the next call. On behalf of the resident of the community and the constituency of St. James Central, we have a little token because the government of Jamaica has made it sure that you have just about everything that is needed. But from the residents, we want to say how appreciative we are to you, the firemen. And it's just a small token, 4 fire blankets that is so needed. And we offer it to you. We offer it to you because, we understand that, yes, you're going to get fire trucks. You're going to get just about everything. But this is what it is that is needed so often that you're called to duty. Sir, this is what it is. Just some blankets that is used in your duties. So once again, on behalf of the community of St. James, we say thank you, and we will continue to feel pleased in what has been done to us here in Montego Bay, where this edifice is concerned. Mr. Prime Minister, I say continue to do the work that you are doing, because you are doing what is necessary for the country of Jamaica. Mr. Sweeney from JC, you have been, as was dubbed yesterday at another event, the godfather of St. James, because we were in Salt Spring, where you gave us a very beautiful Green Space Park and to break ground for the rehabilitation of the Salt Spring Primary and Infant School. It is something that is needed, and we accept wholeheartedly on behalf of the resident. Not to outdo Mr. Sweeney, you are in Mount Salem, where the school is being rehabilitated. And so I know Joseph has become our guardian angel, and we thank you, we laud you, and say thanks on behalf of the citizen of St. James to your staff who have worked assiduously with us here. Once again, I say thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Prime Minister. To my very good friend and colleague, mentor, Dr. Horace Chang, you have been that force from behind the scenes that make things happen. Sir, I ask that you be with us, and God help you to have health and strength, that more can be done for the West St. James. Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very, very much, sir, on behalf of the Jamaica Fire Brigade. Minister, I dare say next time we need fire blankets, we know where to pen the letter. Thank you again. We are now going to invite Senator Janice Allen on behalf of the Leader of the Opposition to present her remarks.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Henry Martin, our Master of Ceremonies. I will have an abbreviated, as best I can, list of salutations. The Most Honorable Prime Minister, Andrew Holness, Prime Minister of Jamaica. Dr. Horace Chang, Minister of National Security. The Honorable Desmond Mackenzie, Minister of Local Government and Rural Development. The Honorable Marlene Malahoo Fort, Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs. The Honorable Homer Davis, Minister of State in the Office of the Prime Minister. Custos Rotularium for the Parish of St. James, Reverend Conrad Pitkin. His Worship the Mayor, Councillor Leroy Williams. Senator Charles Sinclair. Mr. Heroy Clark, Member of Parliament, Commissioner of the Fire Brigade, Mr. Stuart Beckford, and also the Assistant Commissioner responsible for Area 4, where we sit, Mr. Floyd McLean, Mr. Omar Sweeney, along with the Chairman, Dr. Henry of JCIF, representatives of PaveCon Limited, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I greet you well. It is a pleasure for me to be here this afternoon to bring some remarks on behalf of the Leader of the Opposition, Mr. Mark Golding, who could not be here. But it's equally my own pleasure being here this morning to join for the opening of this new facility. But before I begin, just like with Member of Parliament Clark, I wish to start by commending the Fire Brigade and the dedicated team of firefighters and emergency workers who just last night gave selflessly of themselves to rescue 7 members of the community of Portobello who were trapped in the Barney River, which follows on 2 weeks ago a similar rescue effort attempted, and we all know how that ended. We continue to lift our hats to you, and a grateful city thanks you. It is good to see that the residents of Montego Bay will receive or are about to receive a newly constructed fire station under the JCIF's Disaster Vulnerability Project. With just over 30 fire stations island-wide, the construction of this station was very much needed. With the implementation of this project, it is expected that we will see improvements in response times, which should in turn result in fewer fatalities and injuries. We know last year we saw a 48% increase in the number of persons sustaining injury from fires. But we are pleased that we've also seen an 11% decrease in deaths. So we give thanks to the work of the Fire Brigade. Let me use this opportunity to speak to my new friend, the Minister, Minister Mackenzie, that while we welcome the long-awaited fire station, which has its genesis right here at Brick Hill, for those in Montego Bay who would know my reference to Brick Hill, the population explosion that has overtaken Montego Bay demands additional fire stations. So as we welcome this one, I believe and I would hope that plans are afoot to contemplate the addition of more to support the expanding population and the geographic boundaries of the greater Montego Bay area, which include places like Cambridge or Maroon Town. The concern today that the congestion that plagues the city, the work of the emergency services is severely hampered, and this shows the urgent need to find immediate solutions to the traffic and traffic management issues for vehicular and pedestrian. Montego Bay is almost a virtual carnival of chaos, bursting at the seams and really needing to breathe. So, Mr. Mayor, it is my hope that your traffic committee may want to consider and review the possibility of some reconfiguration of some of the streets in Montego Bay to allow for the emergency movement or the better movement of emergency vehicles. This very intersection that we are at now is almost at a standstill most hours of the day, as the entire area operates as an expanded transport center. So I believe the time has come for Montego Bay to consider and to be gifted with a multimodal transport center, the likes of ferry or rail, to offer more efficient movement of the thousands who come into and through the city on a daily basis. As Montego Bay and surrounding communities expand, the need for focused and planned urban development and cohesive work between the planning agencies become more urgent. And with 4 ministers of government calling Montego Bay or St. James home, I'm sure their influence will carry much weight. The reality is that the work of the dedicated women and men of the fire services is dependent on an organized and well-planned and managed city. So if Montego Bay is to live up to the 2030 vision, the plans for further expansion of the city must become priority of local government authorities. This includes roads, traffic management, drainage, garbage collection, hospitals, and all other social services to be better coordinated and at the high standards that Minister Mackenzie has come to demand and expect. I am hoping that with the reopening of this fire station, the Minister and his technical teams have taken into consideration the acquisition of fire units that will handle not only high-rise buildings, but also those equipped to respond to fires at sea. This demands an additional fire boat with pumping capacity befitting a city like Montego Bay that can also respond to nearby towns like Falmouth and Lucy. A concern which has been expressed for many years by tourism interests, business sector, and civil society. I must add that with the fragmentation of the Cornwall Regional Hospital, the ambulance service has also suffered a similar fate. It is my hope that the fire services will add additional ambulances to its EMT service in Montego Bay to bolster the dismal emergency response times that now exist. If we are to properly serve the more than or nearly 400,000 citizens in and around Montego Bay and the various communities, we have to have more than 2 ambulances resident at the hospital. I use the opportunity today to commend our firefighters for responding always to the call of duty and for continuing to put your lives at risk to save lives of others. I know and I suspect that it is indeed a difficult task, not having at all times the proper equipment and infrastructure to carry out your duties. I am therefore grateful to the Jamaica Social Investment Fund who worked to make this project a reality. I implore the government to make the necessary resources available always to firefighters across Jamaica so that they can adequately respond to emergencies and cause for very little injuries and fatalities. As a Montegonian, I am happy that Montego Bay will finally receive this new facility. It is my hope that we will see far more for the citizens of Montego Bay as we work towards a more modern city through the development and bolstering of essential services. I thank you.
And at this time, we invite the Honorable Desmond Mackenzie, Minister of Local Government and Rural Development with portfolio responsibilities for the Jamaica Fire Brigade, to bring his remarks.
Thank you, Mrs. Henry Martin, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Local Government. Most Honorable Prime Minister, colleague, members of Parliament and Cabinet Ministers, Senators, His Worship the Mayor, Custos, Councillors, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, members of the Board of the Jamaica Fire Brigade. It is an honor this afternoon to be here as Minister with responsibility for the Jamaica Fire Brigade to open this new facility. The comments of Senator Allen is worthy of some comments. And I want to make the point that since 2016, the administration of Prime Minister Andrew Holness have invested in the Jamaica Fire Brigade more resources than any other administration has done since independence. For the first time, all fire stations in Jamaica, over 35 fire stations, have more than one working fire unit in all facilities across the island. In the areas where particular kind of firefighting technology is required, all those stations, St. James, Otrius, and Kingston, where high-rise buildings are located, this administration have ensured that the men and women have the requisite tools to respond at the given time. We have provided, Prime Minister, ladies and gentlemen, personal fighting gear, bunker gears. Never in the history of the Jamaica Fire Brigade have they had so many bunker gears at their disposal since 2016. And I am saying so with a certain level of passion, because the last fire station that was built in Jamaica was built when we were to host World Cup cricket in 2007. Since 2016, the Andrew Holness-led administration have not only talked about building. Here in Montego Bay, we spent some $15 million building a brand new facility equipped with fireboats to fight fire at sea in the town of Montego Bay. 3 weeks ago, after some 11 years of operating in conditions that were not conducive for the men and women of the Jamaica Fire Brigade, I had the pleasure of opening a brand new facility in Old Harbour at a cost of some 60 million Jamaican dollars, done under the administration of Prime Minister Andrew Holness. Since 1943, the York Park Fire Station in Kingston, which is situated in my constituency, was built and was opened around 1950. This facility that we are opening today was built at a cost of some 600 million Jamaican dollars under the Andrew Holness-led administration. So we are proud, Senator, ladies and gentlemen, that we have been able to respond to the needs of the men and women of the Jamaica Fire Brigade. And we're not finished yet. We are going to be breaking grounds in another 3 weeks for the construction of a brand new facility in Ulster Spring in Trelawney. Balaclava in St. Elizabeth will be our next location. And we will be opening shortly, not one, but 2 brand new facilities in Port Maria, in St. Mary, and in Yalas, in St. Thomas. This administration is committed in ensuring that the men and women of the Jamaica Fire Brigade, and I want to commend them for working in conditions that demonstrate their ability and commitment and loyalty to the job. And I want to commend the Commissioner and the team, because today is a game changer for the Jamaica Fire Brigade. It has been said that this is the most modern facility that has been constructed in the Caribbean, and we are proud that in the short space of 6 years of the life of this administration, we have been able to deliver on a promise, on a commitment that was made when we came in office to improve the conditions for the Jamaica Fire Brigade. Ladies and gentlemen, the Jamaica Social Investment Fund has been working closely with the Ministry of Local Government. I want to thank Dr. Henry, Mr. Sweeney, and the team for the efforts. We have achieved a lot in 6 years, and we are expecting to achieve a lot more. I want to encourage the citizens of Montego Bay to support this investment, because it is an investment that will benefit not just Montego Bay, it will benefit the surrounding parishes. And I want to give the people of St. James the assurance that we will not be closing any of the other stations because of this. We are going to be moving to upgrade those stations around Montego Bay. So today, I am honored, pleased, happy to be here with you in St. James on this very wonderful occasion of a government who continues to demonstrate the capacity to give support in the areas that is needed and to challenge our men and women in the Jamaica Fire Brigade to continue the same level of professionalism that you have demonstrated over the years in the execution of your responsibility. You have made us proud, and as your minister, you have my full backing 100%. God bless you all, and thank you for a job well done.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have been listening to a lot of talk since 11 something this morning. It's about time we hear a little different. And so we're going to invite firefighter Kirk Sterling, saxophonist, to present us an item, after which, oh, it's two items, one? Oh, it's a combination. As we prepare for our keynote address, you may come. Ladies and gentlemen, we're at the moment where we'll have our very important keynote address to be delivered by our most honorable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister of Jamaica. Sir.
Thank you very much. Please be seated. I was at an event last night, and I made the point that one of the most rewarding things in government is to be present, breaking ground, launching, or opening. Yes, it shows that you are a working prime minister. And I have made a point of keeping all my shovels and hats. They don't allow me to keep the scissors, but I have enough shovels and hats and hopefully plaques to know I could safely say that I have broken ground for far over 100 buildings and in terms of openings, I'm certain that I've gone over 100 openings and launches and so forth. So if you're measuring the productivity of the government, and that is a very good metric. And by all means, this is a government that is performing. I don't really like the announcements. So do I have to make announcements because it is a part of my formal duties? What I praise and what I'm always happy to do is the openings, because that now shows the completion of the site. So yes, I will do the groundbreakings and I will make the pronouncements and the launches, but what really shows the achievement, it is the cutting of the ribbon and the opening ceremony. Now, ceremony is an important part of Jamaican culture. In fact, it is an important part of our political practice, that for everything the government does, we have to have a ceremony for it. And it is important. It gives you a platform to brag, and to make your political points. So prepare yourself, Janice. But the ceremonies don't have to be eternal for them to be immortal. And as I say that, my mind reflects upon a former politician, a former chairman of the PNP, Bobby Pickersgill. In Parliament, he would preface his presentations with that phrase, that the speech does not have to be eternal for it to be always remembered, meaning immortalized. And I intend to follow that today. Now, having said that, Wayne, you need to share that book from which you get all those jokes that you give before you start your speech. You agree with me, Janice? I wondered where he got all those jokes. So, to save time, I would say, good afternoon, nice and decent people, all of you. Give Mark my regards. I'm extremely pleased to be here today for this historic handing over of the Montego Bay Fire Station, to be called, I'm told, the Area 4 Regional Headquarters. This has been a long time in coming, and I'm certain our firemen and women, as well as the residents, are very happy with this. Our fire brigade has a long history, dating back as far as 1879. That is over 150 years. And the brigade has played a crucial role in the development of Jamaica's disaster prevention, management, and response. As we celebrate our 60th year of independence, we look at the opening of this impressive building, the center of operations of the brigade in the western part of the island, as another important milestone in the life of the Jamaica Fire Brigade and another important accomplishment in Jamaica's history. This building, I'm certain, will last 100 years or more. It is well built. It is properly designed. But I will say this to you. If what we expect of the future of Montego Bay materializes, then this will become a mere substation in the next 20 years. Yes. So the building will be here. But if the city expands and grows as we expect, then you will fast outgrow this facility. And that is what we want to see. We want to see the growth of the city. But in an interesting way, the city can only sustainably grow and expand if we build facilities like these. And the truth is that governments for the last 50 years, Minister Davis, have not been able to make these kinds of investments. Why haven't we been able to make these kinds of investments? Primarily because we did not manage our fiscal affairs well. Now, I want to make a subtle point here. A review of Jamaica's financial history would conclude that Jamaica borrowed to finance its development. There's nothing wrong with borrowing. The real question is, how much revenues are you going to be earning from your borrowings if you use them productively? How are you going to control your expenditures such that you create the fiscal space to repay your debt? If you continue to borrow to finance development, you are going to eventually narrow your fiscal space such that all your revenues have to go back to repay interest and repay debt. And therefore that narrows your ability to make investments. So for many years we have been doing that. And we end up, when we borrow, not only to build edifices like these, but we end up borrowing for recurrent expenditure. So we end up in a position where we are disinvesting in our economy, disinvesting in our infrastructure. A decade ago, the nation as a whole came together. We were on the brink of a crisis. Well, we were in the crisis, about to go over the precipice. Some would say we went over. But we came together as a nation. And in that coming together, the financial sector, business sector agreed that, they would postpone the repayment of some of their debt and other things. Government agreed that we would put in place certain legislation and we would change the way in which we spend, no more run with it behavior. And the unions agreed to a wage freeze. That was a signal moment in Jamaica's history. Signal moment. When all the stakeholders came together and we overcame those challenges. Jamaica has it within us to overcome all the problems that we face, all the problems that confront us. We have it within us to do it. If it is one thing that I am proud of this country about, is the strong civil society that we have, the strong social conscience that we have. Now, we are starting to see some light. As a result of that, our debt to GDP ratio, which sometimes hovered as high as 141%, some even said it went up to 150%, depending on how you measure it, came right down to now we are about 96% of GDP. We were 94% just before the pandemic, trending towards 90 and below. Pandemic hit us, it went up back to 110, but look how quickly we have recovered. We have gone right back down now to 96%. The end of this fiscal year, we could be at about 90% or lower, depending, of course, on how our revenues recover, how we manage our expenditure, and if there are no more shocks. Because we are an open economy. And that means that we are susceptible to shocks. COVID was a shock. The war in the Ukraine was another shock. A country like Jamaica, through those two critical shocks, managed to stay stable, recovered our unemployment rate. We are now down to the lowest ever in our history at about, 6.7% thereabout, 6.2%. Lowest in our history. Growth is starting to return. Visitors are starting to come back. Our children are going back to school. Those shocks were not of our making. We must not make shocks for ourselves. I want to repeat that. We must not bring crisis onto ourselves. Because the posture of the government is not an antagonistic one. The posture of this government is to take on the challenges, but to do so in a respectful way, because we recognize that the power of the government does not only lie in the authority of legislation, but it really lies in the people. And when the people act reasonably, everyone benefits. So, as the Prime Minister of the country, I want everyone to appreciate that I am indeed your steward, your servant. My job is to manage your affairs. And it means that there has to be an incredible balancing act, because we have to look at everyone's affairs. Everyone. Teachers, firemen, traffic, security, the national debt, and we have to put all of that into an equation that will deliver growth and employment. And we are trying to solve that equation, which is very complex. So I urge everyone not to make the situation more complicated than it already is. It is one pool of revenues. And if we do anything to stop the flow of revenue into that pool, there will obviously be less for us to debate about how it is to be shared out. So whilst we have concerns, many of them genuine and legitimate, and they should be spoken of loudly, don't take action to stop the revenues from flowing into the pool, which you will need to negotiate about. It is not in your interest to do it. Not in your interest. We are committed to the well-established principles of industrial negotiations. And we believe that process must work. I'm very happy to acknowledge Helene is here representing obviously the union that represents the fire workers, the firemen and women. And I want that message to go out. Our industrial relations, attitudes and behaviors, I believe, would have matured significantly over the last 50 years. And I think that we can find ways, if necessary, to express your disgruntlement, your upset, your concerns for the government to hear without depriving our children from the education which they have been deprived for the last 2 years. It's not in our interest to kick over our own milk. Again, I therefore use this platform. We acknowledge and understand there is agitation, but act with reason. Let us protect the revenues coming in so that there is actually something to negotiate over. Don't go back to the last 50 years of contention. What we have seen is when we come together, we sit around the table, we negotiate, which we have. It is better for everyone. So I'm not speaking to any specific group or any specific issues. I'm making the general comment, which I hope will be understood and taken in the context within which I meant it to be communicated. So let me go back now to my script. The previous fire station, and I see Helene laughing. I hope you got the message, Helene. The previous fire station, known to many as the Barnett Street Fire Station that served Montego Bay and Greater St. James for several years, was in a terrible state of disrepair and became an uncomfortable place for members of the brigade to work. In 2006, the facility was demolished and the firefighters were temporarily housed at a facility in the Montego Bay Freeport. And that was supposed to be a short-term arrangement which lasted for 16 years. This new building, therefore, will transport our fire brigade into the 21st century. With features and amenities, it is the first of its kind in the English-speaking Caribbean, and our fire brigade will now be able to advance its firefighting services in all areas, including training. Now, Minister Mackenzie, you didn't tell us the cost of this building. You did? Then let me repeat it. It's 580 million Jamaican dollars. $500 million, a little over $500 million spent on constructing this building. And it was done, obviously, in partnership with the World Bank through a loan provided under the Disaster Vulnerability Reduction Project, and it was managed and facilitated by the Jamaica Social Investment Fund. And JSIF has been doing a spectacular job in ensuring that social investments, things like these, are done. They are done on budget, they are done efficiently, and their value to the public is secured and well received. The building is 34,073 square feet, and the superstructure stands at 4 stories high, and it's constructed with a steel-reinforced concrete. It's a steel-reinforced concrete structure. Now, you will see that the building boasts 5 engine bays. It has emergency vehicle bays. It can house 140 firefighters, 70 male and 70 female. It has office space, proper kitchen and pantry facilities, a well-equipped conference center. It has an electromechanical room, a library. It has an officer's lounge. It has an underground water tank. But when I toured a few fire stations, I believe it was 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, a firefighter said to me, "Prime Minister, we are here, sometimes we're just sitting down, waiting on a call. We should have a gym." And in fact, I'm trying to recall which fire station it was, but they had it was in Hanover, yes, they had an improvised gym that they all came together and they had a bench press. And I said to the minister, listen, all our fire stations should have a gym. And I am happy to say that this fire station has a gym, which I hope it will be used so that our firefighters will be all fit and ready to go when called upon. And indeed, we have now started to put in gymnasium in all our fire stations. So that's very good, Minister. Our first responders must be in the tip-top shape and healthy, ready to respond. You know, I wouldn't want the firefighter to turn upon the scene and find that he's not flexible and fit to respond. And I see all the firefighters there nodding that they are all ready and able to respond physically. Now, I want to place this structure in context. This obviously is not the only fire station that we're building. This might be the one in which we have spent the most resources on and the most equipped. But just a few weeks ago, Minister Mackenzie was in Old Harbour, and he opened one there, and I am told that I have to slot out in my diary for at least 2 more openings, which obviously I like to do. St. Thomas is next. St. Thomas is next. But I asked the Jamaican public to, just for a minute, with all the noise that you have to process, all the challenges that you are confronted with, but just to honestly reflect on the performance of the administration in the build-out of critical public infrastructure that increases the capacity of government to serve your needs. Look at what we're doing with our police stations. Significant investments, the largest ever investment in the national security apparatus. It is large, but I would dare say it is still not enough in order to truly be commensurate to the security challenges that we face. We still have a large security gap which we need to fill, and we need to make more investments in security. But when we start now to think about climate change and unpredictable weather, we have to be prepared. And so we have to build out the fire brigade infrastructure to be able to respond, but not just to these challenges that are beyond our making. But as I looked at the statistical performance of the fire brigade, I see where, for example, the fire brigade in West Bolon responded to 460 ambulance runs and 402 motor vehicle accidents. And I picked out West Bolon because the next highest parish would be Hanover with 185 ambulance runs and 65 accidents. The parish next to that would be St. James with 222 hospital runs and 152 accidents. When you look at these three parishes, they account for a significant call on the resources of the Jamaica Fire Brigade. These accidents, however, a significant part of them are motorbikes. The infrastructure for emergency response needs critical investment, because our citizens, again, by virtue of their own actions, are creating shocks to our systems. And that's just the reality. If you ride without an helmet, that's a careless act that imposes on all Jamaicans a cost in taxpayers' money for us to have to make these kinds of investments to be able to send an ambulance to pick you up, to carry you to the hospital for the doctor's time to treat you. All because of your own irresponsible behavior of not wearing a helmet. But everyone else pays for it. So I make the point that we can't have people in accidents and we don't have the facility. So we have to make the investment to respond. But at the same time, citizens must be responsible and reasonable in how they act towards their own society. So we are also making some investments in our roads. And I could not come to Montego Bay and not acknowledge the gridlock that exists here. People tell me that, especially when it rains, it's as if it's a parking lot. Traffic just cannot move. Again, this is a consequence of the growth of Montego Bay outstripping the infrastructure. When the fathers and founders of the city were planning and putting the city together, it may not have been the vision at the time that Montego Bay would expand and grow so rapidly. And like a typical English design town, narrow streets, narrow walkways, but that cannot be the future of Montego Bay. What exists, we will obviously have to figure out a way to make it work efficiently, but that has a real bound to it. There's not much you're going to be able to do. We really have to look at expanding the city and expanding how we provide mass transport for the city. So the government has already made the provision, and it is already underway for the perimeter road. It is now at the stage where they are doing the negotiations for the various bonds to put in place for the contracts to be operable. In the interim, the government has allocated 200 million Jamaican dollars to improve the quality of local roads, and I just want to be sure that I'm giving the right information. So that $200 million, Janice, will be invested in ensuring that we improve intersections, critical intersections, by widening and putting in the proper signaling, resurfacing the roads, and putting in various sensors where necessary. And so we're looking at, for example, the Westgate Road, Mount Salem, Catherine Mount, and Providence to Norwood. And that would create, Minister Chang, you would say that that would create an alternate route to taking the Howard Cook Boulevard. So there is some amount of interim response to the concerns that you have raised. I am not here telling you that that is sufficient or it will solve the problem. It will ease the problem. But the long-term vision would be the perimeter road and to have planned developments wherein the traffic is considered up front in the development. And that is what we are now doing. There are some other plans to come, which I don't want to announce everything here. I have to leave some for my budget presentation. But there are other plans being worked on that will improve the traffic flow, not just in Montego Bay proper, but when you are coming out of Montego Bay and you start to hit upon some bottlenecks coming out of Montego Bay. So we are doing a comprehensive program for Montego Bay, including drainage, which is, we have seen now, is critical because it appears that you now have a 2-year cycle of heavy rainfall, which causes flooding. And that can only be solved by putting in place paved drainage that is properly designed to take the water off the many roads and rooftops that are in the Montego Bay area. So I want to assure you that the government understands, we hear the plea, and look, my posture and policy is this. If people are having challenges, they must talk up about it. It's important that the government hears what the challenges are, but they should also be comforted and know that the government that you have elected is responsive and responsible. So, with those few comments and key points, let me officially open let me give it the appropriate name. It gives me great pleasure to officially open the Area 4 Regional Headquarters for the Jamaica Fire Brigade. Let me thank the Jamaica Social Investment Fund, our development partners, the World Bank, the contractors and the designers, and all in the ministry who worked on this. And let me thank the Jamaica Fire Brigade, the men and women who have labored long and hard under less than adequate conditions. May this serve you well, and in turn, may you serve the public of Jamaica well. God bless you, and thank you.
Thank you very, very much, sir. You have given us a lot to chew on. I must say your presentation was quite sober. And as we have come to a very important segment of the ceremony today, I want to underscore a few points the Prime Minister spoke to. Sustainable city planning, strong social conscience, economic considerations and current realities, You mentioned shocks and that we have an open economy and that we must display a mature attitude and to act with reason. I particularly want to underscore that our Prime Minister spoke to us that we must not make shocks for ourselves and we must not bring crisis onto ourselves. Instead, we must be citizens that are responsible and reasonable in how we act. Sir, I was listening very well. Thank you, sir. Prime Minister Davis, so we have come to a very important part of the ceremony, the dedication of the building. I am going to invite Bishop the Honorable Conrad Pitkin. I believe the cutting of the ribbon is on that side. Do we have a cordless mic we could give to Bishop? And then I'm going to invite the persons who are on the program to include our Deputy Prime Minister and our ministers present today to go on the tour with the touring party. At that point, the persons who will remain here will be entertained by Mackie Conscious. I did it properly, right? Yes. And thereafter, I believe refreshments will be served. So as we come with the microphone for, we're using this one? Maybe I need some assistance here. So the touring party will include the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister of Jamaica, and of course, my own minister, Minister Desmond Mackenzie, Dr. Henry, His Worship the Mayor, Councillor Leroy Williams, Mr. Sweeney, MP Heroy Clark, and Senator Janice Allen. And you will be accompanied by the Deputy Prime Minister and the Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs, as well as Minister of State, the Honorable Homer Davis, my good friend. And we invite the JFB representative to also be present. We ask the remaining members of the audience to remain seated, and you will be entertained by Sir Mackie Conscious. Bishop.
Maybe he would recognize wisdom in decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I invite you to pause with me for the dedication. Our gracious Father, once again we offer our praise and our thanksgiving for this glorious day and it is historical occasion for the city of Montego Bay, for St. James and Western Jamaica. We dedicate the facilities, the building, the offices, the conference room, the gymnasium, and other facilities under this covering. We pray your guardian angels be over this building and this property. We pray for the continued protection of the men and women, both administrative and firefighters that will be here. We dedicate it to your glory, to your honor, and for the people of St. James. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
All right, everybody's ready? You want to capture the moment that I cut or the moment that the bow fall? Which one? Which one you want? Cutting? All right, after 1 million. 1 million.
Could we have the JFB representative? Commissioner, who will be assisting them? Who will be assisting them? Okay. In the meantime, the remaining audience will be here to be entertained by Sir Mackie Conscious.
Yep, yep.
Come on, Pandit.
Ready for the world? What a beautiful place. Mr. Engineer. Not that one. TV track. TV track, please. Yeah, man. What a nice place, though. Them say me can't leave. I said, go, play me a song name, You Can't Be a King. There's a track, Can't Be a King. Give me that one. Them say me can't. Might as well enjoy myself.
Making your plans, holding your hands to the highest point. you must achieve. Making your plans, it's all in your hands. To the highest point, believe. Follow your dreams, give it your all.
Whatever you say, you can't achieve.
Setting your goals, all in your hands. Highest point, believe.
We still follow your dreams, right? No matter what your dreams are, they make an action.
Follow your dreams, believe in yourself.
Let nobody tell you you can't be what you want.
Oh, believe in yourself.
The world was made for you, it sure was made for me.
Got to pay the price. Follow your dreams, believe in yourselves. Your goals you must achieve. Making your plans, it's all in your hands. To the highest point, believe. Follow your dreams, give it your all. Setting your goals, all in your hands. Highest point, believe. Follow your dreams, believe in yourselves. Your goals you must achieve. Making your plans, it's all in your hands. To the highest point, believe. Follow your dreams, give it your all. Setting your goals, all in